Hello everyone, in this video we are going to work on Study Island to figure out how to write functions. So we are going to deal with word problems mainly. Some of them are going to be just given tables, and then we are going to figure out which equation models the given table the best. So the kind of equations that you're going to deal with are going to be linear functions in the form of mx plus b, y equals mx plus b, quadratic functions in the form of y equals ax squared plus bx plus c, and lastly we are going to deal with exponential functions in the form of y equals a times b to the power of x. So these three kinds are going to be the things that you're going to deal with. Mainly we're going to work on word problems. This assignment is on Study Island. Algebra 1, writing functions. Okay, so I'll try to solve 10 questions over here, except for one of them. The others are kind of like the difficulty level is average. So let's get started with the first one. So the first question, we have two guys, Steve and Brian. They were both avid bicyclists. So before, here's a clue, here's a hint with the word problems. If you read the question first, it's going to be easier for you to understand what you're going to find in the end. That way, you know what kind of information you're looking for. So if I read the question, it says, which of the following functions will give the total distance that Brian rides in each week? So distance usually is represented by x in physics and math. So the information I need is relevant to Brian, right? That's what I'm gonna kind of hunt out in the question. So Steve and Brian are both avid bicyclists. Each week Steve rides for a total of 4x hours. So for Steve it's 4x hours, and then I need the information for Brian. This is the thing that I actually need. Now let's continue reading the question. So I'm done with that information. That belongs to Steve. I try to color code when I solve these questions online. So if it is Brian, I'm going to put it in blue. If it is Steve, I'm going to put it in red. So Brian rides 7 more hours a week than Steve. So this right here goes for blue for Brian, 7 more hours a week than Steve. So Steve was riding 4x hours. 7 more than 4x is this. 4x plus 7. Let's put it in the parentheses because I'm going to put hours in here. Now let's continue. And then about Steve, I just realized that. Average speed for Steve is x miles per hour. So the speed of Steve is x miles per hour. Now let's see if we know anything about Brian's speed. So an average speed that is 3 miles per hour less than Steve's average. So 3 miles less than Steve's is going to be 3 miles less than Steve. Steve was x miles per hour, so this is x minus 3 miles per hour. Now let's see the question. Which of the following, again, it was about the distance, and you gotta know the distance formula. It is speed times, speed times the time. Okay, x equals v times t. Not sure if you're familiar with this formula. I'll put it up here. X equals velocity time multiplied by the time. So basically, if you're going to try to figure out how long you go, you need to multiply your speed by the number of hours or minutes or whatever you have. So you're working to figure out how the distance for Brian, right? This is what you're trying to figure out. I need to multiply the average speed, that's the speed, and this is the time. My bad. I need to flip them. So this is the time. 4x plus 7 hours, and this is the speed or velocity. So just multiply them together. 4x plus 7 times x minus 3. So we are going to do FOIL, multiply the first terms, 4x squared, multiply the outer terms, 4x times negative 3 is negative 12x, multiply the inner terms, positive 7x, and then multiply the last terms. Positive 7 times negative 3 is negative 21. The ones in the middle are like terms because they both have x. Negative 12 plus 7 is negative 5x. Drop down the last term, drop down the first term. So this would be our final answer for this question. Let's see if this one right here, B. So to wrap the question up, we first divided the question into two pieces, one side, one column for Steve, one column for Brian. And then I put the speed and time for Steve, and then I figured out what that means for Brian and put the time and speed for Brian as well. And then I multiplied both of them together to find the distance that he will take using this formula over here. Speed multiplied by the times, or velocity multiplied by the times. So moving on to the next one. Okay, this is a very common question, not just on IXL, it is also on not just on Study Island, it's also on IXL. So they give you a table, and then looking at the data in the table, they want you to figure out what kind of function best models the situation in the table. So you can usually do, if this is a multiple choice question, you probably are going to be able to do a process of elimination. Just figure out what kind of function that is supposed to be, and then see if you can cross out some of them. Because looking at the answers, this one here is quadratic because it's like x squared is in there. This one is quadratic because you have x squared. This is linear because it's mx plus b, and this one is linear, mx plus b. So the behaviors of these two different functions are going to be different. Linear functions, they either keep increasing or decreasing, whereas quadratic functions, they start increasing and then decrease, or they start decreasing and then they start increasing. So it's like the behavior changes for A and C. For B and D, you gotta have the same pattern in the table. If your numbers for Y is increasing, they should always increase. Now let's see what we deal with in the table. So x values are increasing, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's what we are expecting for any kind of function in the table. X values should like either increase all the time or decrease all the time. That's not going to change. This one here is the Y value. N of x, f of x, those are the same as the Y values. From 56 to 96, it's increasing, right? And then to 120, it's still increasing. To 128, it's increasing. Like this part is increasing. It's going up the graph. But then it starts to go down for these two numbers, or decrease. So the graph is kind of going to look like on the coordinate plane. I'm not sure where it will start from, but I know that it's going to be downward graph, because on the vertical axis you will go up, is increasing, and then you'll go down. That's going to be the behavior of the curve. So you can shift it to the right, shift it to the left, up or down, but the main figure is going to look like downward figure. So let me just, okay, this is what we are expecting to see on the coordinate plane. It could be on the right side of the coordinate plane, on the left side of the coordinate plane, but this is the figure that we are expect to see looking at that table. So this is called a downward graph. And when you have a downward graph, this is prior knowledge, what I'm about to say. Like if you made it up to this lesson on Study Island, or if you're working on writing functions, quadratic functions, you should already know this. So if you have a downward graph, when you have ax squared plus bx plus c, what this means, that number is going to be negative. So a is going to be less than 0, or you can just put it as a is negative, because your graph, your curve is going to be downward. So now I know that the answer is going to be quadratic. It's not going to be linear. That's gone. This is gone because I don't have the same behavior in the table. This is increasing. That's decreasing. So it's either A or C. Now I look at the A value, the number in front of the x squared. So this one here is negative. That one here is positive. So that must be my answer. This is called process of elimination. You're going to need this skill when you take the ACT or SAT or any other high-stake test where there are multiple questions. But to get to the actual answer, what you can do, I'll show you what you can also do to figure out that the C is the exact answer. You can just pick these two numbers, x equals 1 and then y equals 56. Just plug this in. Just plug in x equals 1 on the right side of C. Like in here, plug in 1 for x and see if the answer is going to be 56. It will be 56, by the way. So then you will make sure that the answer is going to be 56. The answer is going to be C, my bad. Okay, moving on to question 3. So when Sierra first purchased her laptop, the battery lasted for 180 minutes. So this, looking at the options, it's obvious that we are dealing with an exponential function. So in an exponential function, they're going to be in the form of f of x or y, that doesn't matter, or b of t, or like you can change the variable and the first letter. That doesn't change anything. So a times b to the power of x. So quickly going over what these represent. So the first one, like this x over here, oh my god, let me see. Okay, so the x over here is the time, or you can turn it into t, that doesn't matter. So whatever you have variable wise in there, that's the time. This right here is the common ratio. If you have like 5% increase, you do 1 plus 5% and then put that decimal in the parentheses. If you have 10% decrease, you do 1 minus 10% by converting the 10% into decimal and then put that in the parentheses. And then this one is your initial number. So let's read the question and figure out what our numbers are going to be. So the question is, function represents how long the battery will last after t years. So how long it'll last, this is about the time, right? How long? It's going to last 3 years. It's going to last 5 years. The unit is whatever I say, like whatever that number is, the unit is going to be the years. So my question is going to have the t inside the parentheses because right here it says after t years. That's my time. Instead of x, I want to put that t. And then looking at all of these answers, they have B standing for battery, I guess. So battery will last. Let's figure it out. So I need my the initial number, right? For A, right here, I need my initial number. So let's read it. When she first purchased her laptop, the battery lasted for 180 minutes. That's my initial number. So let's put it up here, 180 times. And then I will have a decimal in this parentheses. And then I'll have the time as a variable at the top right corner. So we already figured that out. That's going to be t, right? It's given over here. And then we also put it up there. Now, what kind of decimal do I need in there? Is it going to be more than 1 or less than 1? That's the question now. Because all of them has 180 times. That's fine. The exponents are the same. They are all t. Now, the decimal is going to make the difference. How do we figure that out? So it's again 1 plus something percent or 1 minus that a number percent. Let's figure that out. So the battery life decreases. That word tells me to subtract from 1. Subtract what? Subtract 5.6%. How do we do that? So if you put just 1 minus 5.6%, that's not going to make sense. You got to convert that 5.6% into decimal. So 1 minus 5 if you convert that 5.6% into decimal, you got to move the point to the left 2 times. So 0.056. That's what you need. So if you don't know how to convert percentages into decimals on top of your head, what you can do is use a calculator then. Divide the given number, the percent, by 100. So what you can do is you can get over here. You can use any calculator actually. 1 minus 5.6 divided by 100. That's going to show you the decimal you need. Just divide it by 100 using a regular calculator. So 0.944 is what I need. 0.944. It's decreasing. It's going to last very last. Let me see. What's the difference between C and the D? I don't see any difference. Interesting. I think there is a typo because both of these answers are right, unless I'm not seeing anything. But let me see this again. Oh, I see. This is times t. It's not the exponent. This right here is not an exponent, so that's not my answer. So this right here is the answer. So in D, the t is an exponent. In C, t is multiplied by the decimal. That's not what we want. It should be in the exponent as a power. So now let's move on to question 4. Okay. Joshua rented a movie. For looking at the answers, they are all linear. So this question is about a linear function. He rented a movie for $4.49 from Cinema Rentals. So this is a set price. It's not saying that he's gonna pay that much every day. It just says he will pay $4.49. That's it. So he'll pay $4.49. Then probably he's gonna pay something else. Let's see. If the movie is not returned on the due date, they charge an additional $2 a day. Now, if you see this expression, they charge like $1 per day, $5 a day. That tells you to multiply. Okay, so this is an additional that tells you to add because he already paid $4.49, and then he's gonna pay $2 for every day he's late, right? How many days is he gonna be late? Do we know that? Let's figure it out. So I need to multiply this by the number of days. If it's 2 days late, I'll multiply it by 2. If it's 5 days late, I'll multiply it by 5. If he returns the movie X days after its due date, so we don't have the number, we have a variable for the number of days, so it's times X. So that's how much he'll pay. Probably that's what the question is about. Which of the following functions represents the total cost he paid for the movie rental? So he paid this much. We don't know how many days he was late, but once we figure that out, we can plug it in for X and then figure out the final answer. But so far, this is going to be the answer. Let's see, this right here. Moving on to number 5. Okay. The answers are quadratic. What happens with the quadratic, you usually have 2 binomials, like that looks like x plus 2 and then x minus 5, and then you multiply them, you simplify it, figure out which one is the same. That's usually what happens if the answers are quadratic in a word problem. This could be like length, this could be like a width, or number of hours multiplied by the speed to find the distance. That's usually like the main concepts related to quadratic questions. Now, a play company is having 2 shows. In the morning show, chairs are set up in rows of 12 chairs. So in the morning, there are 12 chairs. For afternoon show, let's do afternoon. The number of chairs in each row was 3 more than the original number of rows. Do we know the original number of rows? Let's see. I don't think we do. Okay, I see that. if R represents the original number of rows. So R is the number of rows. So in the morning we have R rows, right? And let's figure out the afternoon. It said for the afternoon show, the number of chairs in each row was 3 more than the original number of rows. The original number of rows is R. I don't want you to think like 12 plus 3 is going to be what you need on the right side. That's not what it says. It says 3 more than the original number of rows. And then if we continue reading the question, the original number of rows is R right here. So we have that. It's R. We will do plus 3. R plus 3 chairs. Okay, the number of chairs in the afternoon show is R plus 3. Now, how many rows are in there in the afternoon show? Okay, okay, for the afternoon show, 6 more rows are set up. 6 more rows than R. So we need 6 more than R. This is the number of rows. That was the number of rows as well for the morning show. Now, let's see the question. Which of the following functions will give the total number of chairs set up for the afternoon show? Like, in reality, how do you find the number of chairs in a room? Like, in a classroom, if we have like 5 rows, and in each row, if I have like 3 desks, I'll have like 5 times 3, 15 desks, right? Just multiply the number of chairs by the number of rows. So, number of chairs times the number of rows is going to give me the answer. So it's R plus 3 times R plus 6. This is called multiplying binomials. Binomial means 2 terms because of that bi. Okay, so multiply the first terms. R times R is R squared. Multiply the outers. R times 6 is positive 6R. Multiply the inners plus 3R, and then last terms plus 18. Combine the like terms in the middle, that's positive 9R. Drop down the last term, drop down the first term. So that would be the total number of chairs in the afternoon show. R squared plus 9R plus 18. And the total number of chairs in the morning show would be, multiply these two together, 12R. Okay, moving on to question number 6. Okay, here's another exponential question, and this is going to be it. This is going to be the, let me see. Let's check the rest of the questions to see if there's any different type in here. Number 10 is the same as the one that I did. Okay, this is the last one, question number 6. Kevin recently purchased a new car for 46. Okay, looking at all of the answers, by the way, this is going to be exponential. And exponential functions are in the form of a times b to the power of t or power of x. The exponent represents the time, b is the common ratio, a is the initial number. So all of these are c of t. I don't know what it is for now. Let's read the question. The initial value is this, so I know that that's my first number. Times, I need a ratio and then a variable in the exponent. So the variable is t, looking at all of the options. In t years, that goes in the variable exponent. So this question, let's read the second sentence. The car he bought is expected to decrease, so that's my keyword, it's expected to decrease in value 7% each year. So basically what I need in the parentheses is 1 minus 7%, but you first need to convert that 7% into decimal. So 1 minus 0.0127. So subtract these two, the answer is going to be 0.993, which goes in the parentheses. Looking at the options we have, the answer is going to be, this is interesting. It's not going to be any of them. How did I subtract that? That's okay. It's me. That's what it is. So use a calculator when you subtract decimals from a whole number. So if a teacher does this, you should definitely use a calculator. So B is going to be the answer. So let's double check that. 1 minus 0.1 minus 7%, right? I'll just change that decimal. Okay. So 0.93 is going to be the decimal I need in the parentheses. So the answer is going to be B for this one. What we learned in this lesson, we learned how to identify what kind of function we are going to deal with. If it's a table that keeps increasing or decreasing, we are dealing with a linear. If it increases first and then decreases or vice versa, then we are dealing with a quadratic. And if you're dealing with an exponential, make sure you know what the time variable is, what your initial number and common ratio is, and don't forget about adding or subtracting it to or from 1, like here, to get the number you need in the parentheses when you deal with an exponential. It's always 1 plus percentage or 1 minus that percentage. So that was it. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in another video.